Ozempic is a GLP. Mounjaro is the second phase of these drugs. So if you just take these drugs and do nothing, you end up looking like Sharon Osbourne, where they look like they've just dug it up. I did a course years ago with Welsh Drug and Alcohol abuse. Taught me that people are going to use these things. You've got to negate the negative effects or try to help them understand how to use them. The supplement industry is full of bullshit. If it's used correctly, they will put 10, 20 years on some people's lives. So one of the girls I trained, she's 40 kilos down in total, about 15 kilos down without Ozempic after she came off it. Took that drug to get her to a place where she can make more changes. Though they're maybe going to be living longer, the muscle mass they've got left has left them with mobility issues. If you don't like something, change it.
Yeah.
If you're not going to change it, leave it.
Yeah.
If you're not going to leave it, stop fucking whinging about it.
So, let's talk about rabbit holes, actually, and the rabbit hole of these new anti-fat or fat drugs where they take in Ozempic and Mounjaro and stuff like that. How does that? A couple of questions here. Surely that can't be good for your body, number one, because again, it's poison you put into your body. Two, how does it affect business? Do people just think oh, well, I can take that and I don't have to do anything else?
Yeah.
What's your view?
So I'll break it down from what's my view first of all. So these drugs, if used correctly, nothing wrong with them. I think, don't get me wrong, we still haven't got longitudinal data, we've got short-term data, and like anything, if it's used correctly or under guidance well, they will put 10, 20 years on some people's lives. Yeah. I have no doubt about that. Being considerably overweight plays into cardiovascular disease, all the other the triad of the diseases, cancers and everything all come together. So some people who are considerably overweight, like we're talking 140, 150 kilos plus or whatever they are, these drugs might take 30, 40 kilos off these people and it will completely change their lifestyle and it will give them a longer life. And that's just in that population.
Can I just think though, right? For me, is it a bit of what's the word I'm looking for? It's the...
shortcut?
Oh Christ! I just totally forgotten the word. A placebo. Is it
no,
a bit placebo?
These drugs are mental.
Think...
what they work off is there's different levels. You got Ozempic as an example is a generation 1. It's a GLP. Yeah. So it is a appetite suppressant. It does that by I might get the science wrong on this, but people will correct me. I'm sure they will. The GLP mimics a hormone that causes gastric emptying from the stomach. So essentially, this GLP stops the stomach from emptying. So you're essentially, depending on how much you're taking, you can have 3-day-old food in your stomach. So you're not hungry because you're full up to you from food that's digesting much slower. Mounjaro is the second phase of these drugs, which has got a GIP as well, which is like a glucose kind of, I wouldn't say mimic, it has an impact on insulin sensitivity, so your glucose partitioning. So that's used a lot in diabetic treatment now to help kind of blood sugar levels. And then this new kind of drug that's coming about now, it isn't clinically proven yet, but I don't think it'll be far. It's called retatrutide, say it rightly. That's got a glucagon, not inhibitor. It's got an effect on glucagon, which upregulates metabolism. So it's like a tri-action. So these drugs we know conclusively work. A lot of the research shows short-term, when controlled, and if you eat a high-protein diet and you resistance train, it negates a lot of the muscle mass loss. So if you just take these drugs and do nothing, you end up looking like Sharon Osbourne, where they look like they've just dug it up, the poor fucker. Looks terrible. But if you resistance train consistently, you keep your protein high, you make wise food choices, these drugs can super kickstart your fat loss and put you in a good place and minimize the muscle mass loss. And then I've had a couple of clients who've used in the past, and then you phase off those drugs, and it's more than about, or during as well, using really good habits to keep their food in check. Yeah. And I've had a couple of girls who've come off it over the years and have been off 9-10 months and lost even more weight since, but have completely changed their outlook on food. Yeah. So one of the girls I trained, she's 40 kilos down in total, about 15 kilos down without Ozempic after she came off it. I think, she was Ozempic. She now says that I know what my triggers are. I know how to sort my food out. She says, if I don't take food to work, I'll eat like a twat and I lose 3 days. She said, that's my trigger. But it took that drug to get her to a place where she could make more changes. And I think, I don't disagree with them. I don't completely agree with them. But I think when used properly, they make sense. And as long as, like anything, I did a course years ago with Welsh Drug and Alcohol abuse, about anabolic steroids. And it taught me that people are going to use these things. you've got to negate the negative effects or try to help them understand how to use them as best they can.
Yeah.
So I have no problem with people using these drugs as long as they try to use them correctly.
Yeah.
You just whack a load of these drugs in and you lose a load of weight.
Yeah.
But if you lose it very quickly without any resistance training, you lose a lot of muscle mass, you come off these drugs, you haven't changed your habits, most of that is going to come back.
Yeah.
But then, caveat, most dieting results in the same thing.
Yeah.
So even dieting without these drugs, they say if you don't keep the weight off for 5 years, within 5 years you'll regain it all and more. It takes a lot of long-term habit change and understanding of food for it to keep the weight off long-term. And people do it, but it's not easy.
Yeah.
There's a lot to that. And then, effect on the industry. I don't know where to start with this. It's changed the industry a bit, and it's changed maybe the clientele that will come to you. Some people will just look to these drugs and not even consider it. Some people who are already training will use these drugs to kickstart further fat loss phases. I tend to, like we just said earlier, I only look at what I can have an effect on. And I tried, like I read Lyle McDonald's book on the GLPs not so long ago, and he talks about the science behind it and how to use them properly. Just try and understand these things and don't stigmatize them. Because you've got to think a lot of these people who come to you to, like, say, lose weight as a personal trainer, they're already afraid of what you're going to judge them for. A lot of people all think what people think about them. If they want to use these drugs, use them, but get them to use them properly and then wean them off as best you can.
I think there's still after, if there's huge amounts of weight loss, though, from a certain person, the people who are really going to benefit from it are the plastic surgeons.
Yeah, that is.
Have to get rid
they
of
are
all this
seeing that now.
there.
And like, I train a girl who's trained a girl who's an assistant prof at Swansea Uni, and she was explaining to me now that there are more clinics arousing now where they're talking about mobility issues. So people who've used these drugs for a longer term and not done any resistance work, that is showing that they're becoming increasingly weak. So although they're maybe going to be living longer and they're in a better healthier place long term, the muscle mass they've got left has left them with mobility issues long term, potentially. This is now emerging. And there is a little bit of a risk of a higher rate of osteoporosis in females, but I don't think the literature is conclusive on that yet. Because obviously lower food intakes, lower vitamin and mineral intakes, dieting results in a bit of hair loss anyway, but Ozempic will shoot that up. And then on top of that, if you're not getting enough calcium, females are more prone to osteoporosis. You take menopausal women with these drugs, maybe on even lower calcium, and you are looking at even higher risks again. But again, not proven. That's just my take, potential.
My wife would be very interested in that. My wife would never take it. Like, she's one of these people, it's like, no way. It hasn't been around long enough.
Yeah, she's got a point with the longitudinal
I'm not doing
stuff.
that. My wife's knackered because she's always moaning about her weight and stuff like that, but then she won't go to the gym. She absolutely despises the gym.
It's fair, it's not for everyone.
And then she go, I like crisps too much.
I like crisps. But you've got to slow down,
But again, for me, being celiac, there's only certain crisps I can eat. Like.
Do you find the celiac stuff tastes like cardboard?
The pasta ain't good.
Yeah.
The pasta is not good, I will say, and it kind of goes in this kind of goo, right? The pita breads are phenomenally nice. They're nicer than normal ones, right? I would say.
I can't say I've dabbled a lot. I've had bits here and there. I've had a couple of clients who are celiac or like intolerant to certain things.
There's only a small stand everywhere, the free from. It's stupidly more expensive.
Yeah, it's mega money compared.
Much more expensive. And I find that it's a lot of the bad stuff as well. So they'll do cakes, biscuits.
But this is like we were saying about the Ozempic stuff is you will see instead of people changing to better quality sources of food or trying to change their diet a bit, you will see people who will go on these drugs and still bang in one takeaway every 2 days.
Yeah, that's it.
And unfortunately, that's a psychological and then a want to change habits, not just rely on a drug. But people will always do that.
We try, like I've never been one for tinned foods. If I'm going to make a bolognese, it's all fresh. Like tinned tomatoes. But I wouldn't use a dolmio or anything like that because there's so much sugar in it and stuff. So we've always tried that. I make homemade curries. But then I do put double cream in it, and I put honey in it as well.
But you're not overweight, so don't worry about it.
I know, because I went up to 13 stone, which is really heavy for me, and but I felt like crap.
Yeah, you feel sluggish.
I feel I get bad back, my lower back, because I
carry
my
weight,
cord,
you're in an awkward position.
And I just don't feel good about myself. And doing these bloody podcasts as well, I see that I have more chins than the Chinese phone directory on it, and I'm like, oh my God, look at
the angle of the camera,
look at the state of me. So I've lost now. I think it's 1 stone 9 pound, and I feel brilliant. I think again though, I'm not so sluggish because my diet has changed for it. So it's kind of the perfect storm for me at the moment. You know, again, I wasn't feeling my best about myself last year, and that person said to me, "You're not the best version of yourself." And I've really made a conscious effort to be
make
more,
those changes, like
just to try and be a nicer person, maybe to listen more. Like I've got a really bad habit. My wife will come and she'll talk about work all the time, and I don't listen to a fucking word that she says.
At least I do it to my life. She comes to me and she loves to tell a story and like summarise. And she's like, "You never want to listen to me."
And I'm trying to go, and be more connected with it, and go right, and try not. Like, I got bad OCD, so I go in the house and like my kitchen floor has to be perfectly white and clean, and I'm like, clean the floor, and I'm trying not to lose it, and I'll just go in and I tidy up without anybody knowing that I'm tidying up and stuff.
Back, ask the consequences.
Exactly, and I've really tried this year for it. But again, and it's trying to pick my daughter up from school, and I am like, my wife does love Disney. And I've been somewhere in the region about 17 times to like to California, Florida.
I'd rather spend a weekend with the Gestapo.
Exactly. Like, and I've gone like, but my back hurts, and and I've gone, look, I quit. I don't want to do it anymore. So like, last year we went on our first cruise. So we went to America first, Nashville, Memphis.
Oh, nice.
And then down to New Orleans, and then I went on the cruise. So it was kind of like, I just want to sit by a pool and do nothing. So that's the cruise bit is mine. And then the American bit is hers. So we've kind of like compromising now. But
is that just life? Compromise? Find a middle ground?
It is, but it's only now I'm kind of realising that at 52.
I think some people never get there. I think some people never realise that. Like, I think it's compromise is massive.
But I think her compromise is as well that she knows I like working, and she knows that I have to do a lot of work.
I think to be self-employed, you've got to have an understanding partner. And I'll say like that about my partner, to be fair. She gets it. She does a bit of self-employed herself, so she gets it more now. But like, I think you've got to have somebody who understands what the game is about.
Well, you say that, Dan, right? It's like behind every man is a successful man is a successful woman or whatever, pushing you forward. Like, all the big jobs and decisions I've ever made, my wife hasn't wanted me to do it, and I've had to fight, and I've said, look, I'm making this decision. She didn't want me to start up the compliance guys.
I got to say, I've read a book, if you haven't read it, called The Chimp Paradox.
I know.
Changed my life, The Chimp Paradox. But it taught me, if you don't like something, change it. If you're not going to change it, leave it. If you're not going to leave it, stop fucking whinging about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you've only got those three options in life.
It goes back to what I was saying about conspiracy theorists and stuff like this and all this. And I go, what's going to happen? There's no Illuminati. There's no like all these powers of the and it's like all the biggest powers of the world all get together and they all discuss. And I go, no, you wouldn't. So what? There's different religions. Do you think Kim Jong-un is going to let Putin be number one? They all want to be number one. They'll be fighting, and it will never happen. It doesn't happen.
The thing is, he's lost 5 hours a night looking at it.
Exactly.
Just, I can't face it.
You're not going to influence it if you can't change it. And it's, oh man, I'll take the red pill or the blue pill. Fuck off. There is no red pill or blue
agree
pill.
with you. You could spend your life going down a rabbit hole you're not going to affect.
Absolutely. So now I don't do drugs, I don't drink, I haven't smoked for 30 years, right? I don't have pasta anymore, or bread, or gluten.
I think there's much left of life for you, was there?
My biggest addiction was sweets, right? Like, Mau. Is pronounced, right? Oh my God, they're amazing.
Not my fun. I'm more of a Sour Patch Kids.
Is it? Well, stuff like Tang Fast Sticks, but the Mau-Ums and Fruitellas, oh my God, they were amazing. And I couldn't give them up. And I found myself, like big strawberry laces and stuff. I found myself, I'd be driving along going, gotta get me some strawberry laces. And I can do intermittent fasting, like I'm having one meal a day at the moment. I've lost over 1.5 stone, so I'm feeling better about myself and stuff. But this sweet thing was just really, really bad. So I thought, hypnotherapy, right? And I tried to get this hypnotherapy. Yes. Really? I haven't had a sweet this year. Not this year. I had 5 sessions, I think it was, right? Cost me about 400 quid. Just brilliant. Just
made the difference, like.
Absolutely.
I'm always really skeptical. I'm always
and I kind of, I've always the first time hypnotherapy really occurred to me, and I knew I could see it works. And I'm going to go way back here. It was Nigel Benn and Chris Eubank fighting, right? And he was
like 1984?
Yeah, it's got to be. It's got to be the early 90s, right? It's got to be around there. And I can't remember if it's the first or second one. And Eubank went, and it found out that Eubank was going, I can't believe he just kept on going and going and going. And, you know, Eubank won it again. And Ben has said, yeah, I had hypnotherapy, you know, and, you know, I had this resilience behind me that which I've never had before. And I had to keep on going. I thought, that's interesting.
Have a look at
you know
this.
what I mean? And this is going back then. So I thought I'd give it a go. And it was fascinating. And the guy went, I'm not going to do anything. He said, you're going to do it. It's your mind. And all we're going to do is open up a couple of doors. And it was great because, like, the first session, I can remember it really well. And I can remember him telling me about, you know, we're on a beach. And, you know, he asks, I'll wind back a little bit. The hypnotherapy, the therapy side of it is very, very important. And I get why the Yanks like therapy so much.
Therapy, don't they?
And I felt, you know, you're telling this guy, this complete stranger, a lot about yourself. He was very cathartic. You know?
Offloading.
Yeah, and he's like, you know, what's your dream situation? Where would you like to be best? And I said, do you know what? I love the sunshine. And I said, I love getting up early on a like Sunday morning or weekend, right? And going out in my garden and the sunshine's there, and like I could just wear a t-shirt and a pair of shorts and have a black coffee, not even have my phone. And I live by fields, and I just sit there and you just listen to the, you know, the birds and maybe a horse in the field, and I just sit there and I think, oh, this is bliss. This is just lovely. And or just on a beach, I love hot weather, and I just love the sand. I love anything about that. And the first therapy, he spoke to me about a beach. The last one, I can't remember any of it. You know, because you just go deeper and deeper into this trance, right? And it's like, but whatever was said, whatever, I don't think about sweets. I don't want to do it. And so much so, I've tested myself.
I was going to say, have you tested
it? You know, like I stayed in a hotel and they had 3 bags of sweets there, right? Have as many as you want. I took 1 bag. Now, before, I would have taken about 5 or 6.
Fill your boots. Like.
Right? And I had this bag, didn't even open it. I give it away to a member of staff, though I do want a bag of sweets. Like, my wife bought me, like, jelly beans was another one. Like, love them. My wife bought me some jelly beans for Valentine's Day. They're still there, unopened. I said, I'm not eating them this year. And it just turns that switch. And I think that's what I'm all about sometimes. It's like, I don't drink, as you say, and when the fun stops, stop. And it's a brilliant saying. Now I'm addicted to not drinking.
Yeah, I can see how, like, I drink on stag do's and weddings.
Yeah.
Other than I don't bother because it just wipes me out.
Yeah.
I can't deal with, like, I get, like some people, they drink in the morning, sound the next morning, nothing touches them. I'm on 50% power for 3 days. So I just don't do it often because I'll do it with the boys when you go away. But that's like once a year. I can't do it, like some people you probably know, do it every weekend. I always wonder how many days of that week do they not function fully? Well, and I think so many people are so used to that lifestyle.
Top yourself up.
Yeah. You know? So by Wednesday you might feel normal. Friday you're back on it. You have 2 days a week where you have like a normal conscious mind, and then you're back to it. And that's just my take on it.
And the strange thing about alcohol as well is it's like, of all the drugs that they could legalize, right? In the world, right? This right across the board. The 2 worst ones, in my opinion, are alcohol and cigarettes.
I couldn't agree more. Like, you talk about people like, I mean, obviously the fitness industry, you talk about all the like anabolic steroids and like GLPs and all these other things that come out, and people really villainize them. And I'm like, you smoke 20 fags a day. You smoke 20 fags a day and you're drinking every weekend. I'm like, but yours is legal.
And again, my best mate, you know, he really struggled with alcoholism and stuff like that. And, you know, he said to me, and he was such an inspiration because he almost died, right? He almost died with that. And I've been to a couple of mates' funerals because they've drank themselves to death, you know, and that was the culture. You know, I'm 52 now. I grew up in that drinking culture. And he just went, it's poison. That's all alcohol is. And when people realise you're putting poison into your system, you kind of get it then. What's your opinion on supplements then?
So, before we dive into any detail, I just say go to the Australian Institute of Sport and look at their category A. So that will be where all the clinically proven research is.
Yep.
The supplement industry is full of bullshit, being polite. Loads of stuff they'll claim does X, Y, and Z. If you want to know what really works, go to the AIS. There's certain supplements, and the ones I recommend to most of my clients are a whey protein of some form, you can go as cheap or as expensive as you want. It don't really matter that much.
Same stuff.
Yeah, a creatine monohydrate, because it's the most research proven supplement there is. Buy the cheap stuff, it's all exactly the same.
Yeah.
I like vitamin D, a good cod liver oil, and if you're an endurance athlete, there's a few like what's the best one? Like the beetroot juice and a few of those. Other than that, most of it is fluff, and they will charge you the earth for a nice branding and a fancy flavour.
For me, supplements would be pointless. Is that right? Because
I
I'm
wouldn't
celiac.
I wouldn't say pointless. So like you should look at everything as a pyramid, right?
Yeah.
So we got a pyramid this way, camera that way. At the base, calories in, calories out. Then we look at your macronutrient composition, so your protein, fats, and carbs. Then you look at your time in your meals. Then you look at the nutrient density of meals, and the very tip of that pyramid is supplementation. So without the rest, it means nothing. Most of my clients, I like to get calories and macros right, and then a bit of nutrient density. That will do 90% of the work. Unfortunately, most people flip the pyramid that way.
Yeah.
They take all the supplements in the world, and then they're having double sausage and egg McMuffin and like Domino's pizza.
Yeah.
Like the basics done with your nutrition covers 90%. Supplementation should be what it says. Supplementation. I don't really recommend a multivit unless you're really low in veg and that, but you can get that in if you want to. Get it as a coverall. So I'd say protein, creatine, vitamin D, a cod liver oil, and if you want a coverall basis, a multivit. I don't really rate much else personally.
Okay, I can ask you, and this is not anything that Saskia has asked for. In your opinion, who are the fittest sports people? Who's the pinnacle? Like some people say, swimming is like, does literally
as an all-rounder.
Yeah, like when you look at it, who are the fittest? Like people think like Formula One, their diet's got to be absolutely phenomenal. They go up against the G-force.
So if I'm looking at endurance,
tennis, look at that.
I'm looking at endurance, power, athleticism, strength, agility across the board. I'd have to say, you can't argue against a decathlete, really, because it's 10 different sports.
Yeah.
But I'd probably go a bit unconventional and either an Olympic-style wrestler, because of the power and the endurance stuff they have to do, or a 7 in rugby. Is more rounded than you think. Like when I was in uni doing S&C, like our lecturer said to us, you're going to design a macro year-long plan for an athlete. Don't pick a 7 in rugby.
Yeah.
Because they've got to be it all. They've got to be massive, they've got to be strong, they've got to be powerful, they've got to have an engine, they've got to do skill work. It's a very complicated position to fill. So I would say 7 wrestler or maybe a decathlete. And then the extremes are then, like, I think for endurance work, you can't beat like the Nordic skiers or the Tour de France boys.
Well, I went to a hospitality event a couple of weeks ago, just the semi-final of the FA Cup, and one of the guys there, he does, I think it's endurance running. He run a couple of days before 100 miles.
Oh yeah, the ultra endurance,
which turned out to be 104, by the way.
I think the endurance stuff at that level, the running stuff, I think is so much the top 2 inches, the mental capability to do it. I think the fitness is there, but a lot of these boys will just. They just got that grind.
And yeah, you say about the mental, capacity. He said that quite often you hallucinate.
Yeah, they probably in a
world
of pain.
What? And he's like, he's got one of those torches on his head because he's running through the night because they're running so long. And he's hallucinating, and the urine sounds and seeing people.
You're depleted, you haven't slept, you got... Yeah.
I'm like, why would you do that?
I think a lot of them have got demons in on dressing. I think it's a different animal, the ultra endurance stuff, different altogether.
Okay, we're going to finish up. This has been a fascinating conversation. I really enjoyed myself this. This is probably my favourite podcast to date.
Says that to everyone.
Yeah, no. I've really, really enjoyed it, and I've gained a lot of knowledge. And you obviously know your onions as well, which is really, really good. We always ask for the next guest coming on, what's a piece of advice you would give them? You don't know who that guest is going to be. Can you remember who the last guest was?
No, it was Ross.
It was Ross, and what was his piece of advice?
Consistency over perfection.
Consistency over perfection.
I think that's everything in life. Business, training, your partner, whatever.
See, I always strive for perfection, so maybe that's where I'm going.
I love the idea of perfection, but I don't think we ever get there.
I know.
And I think a lot of people do perfection 20% of the time. Shit 80% of the time.
Yeah.
Because if you do 80% of the time consistent, that 20% you don't miss.
Yeah.
Or don't miss so much. I think if you can be consistent with what you do and your message and who you are, I think you'll sell it to people because, like you probably know, people buy from people.
Yeah.
They don't buy
Yeah,
your
that's
product,
right.
they buy from you.
You're
They like
absolutely
who
right.
you are.
Yeah. So, everyone, please subscribe. Please like. It really, really helps us. Tell all your friends about it. And that could be on Spotify, all of them, YouTube. And that's how it is.